Here we are talking sports with the legend. Tonight's guest, John McBride, the public address announcer.
Hey, thanks for coming on, buddy.
No problem, Steve. It's my pleasure. I feel humbled seeing how many great guests you've had in the past, and I'm honored that you've included me in your lineup.
Where are you from?
I grew up in Presentation BVM Parish. That's in the Burholme neighborhood.
Mhm.
It's kind of between Fox Chase and Longcrest.
Presentation, Steve.
Yeah. Wow. I know.
Tell them
Yeah.
that's where you moved, right?
Yeah, my brother went there.
Yeah.
My father still lives in the parish.
Ah.
Oh,
Tell them what street we lived on.
we're just doing this thing.
That's right.
Yeah. Where did you go to? What schools did you go to?
Well, for kindergarten, I went to J. Hampton Moore. It was a public school about 3 blocks from my house. But after that, all through grade school, it was Presentation BVM right by the railroad tracks on the other side of the county line in Cheltenham, PA. And for high school, I went to Cardinal Dougherty. After I got out of Cardinal Dougherty, I went 2 years to the Philadelphia College of Art for illustration. Things weren't working out so well. I could have won a Vezina trophy in the NHL with my grade point average. So I transferred to Temple University, and things got a lot better there.
What was your major?
When I went to the Philadelphia College of Art, it was illustration. And I found out from my 2 years there that I liked art, but I really didn't love it. So when I transferred to Temple University, I had been working summers at the Jardel Recreation Center. So I took as my major public recreation and recreation management. And that wound up giving me a very nice 40-year career that I worked for with the city of Philadelphia. I guess I might be one of the few people that worked in the field in which their major applied.
Another city worker, just like your other Dougherty buddy, right?
Oh, yeah, Steve Smith.
Yeah.
When did you start announcing?
I started announcing at the Jardel Recreation Center. I was working there in the summers of my 17th and 18th year, and the program leader there, Stuart Greenberg, asked me to announce a summer league basketball game just to give it some atmosphere. Well, I announced it and I found I really liked it. So I started trying to announce as much as possible. And Stu would give me all sorts of recreation games up there, and then he would put me in charge of announcing the water show and some different special events. And then I started announcing, as a backup to Joe Conklin, basketball games at Cardinal Dougherty. If for whatever reason Joe couldn't make it, he would call me up and I would be the one to announce those games.
Cool. So you got to do some of the games when Tina Mobley was on the team.
I wasn't lucky enough to announce when Catino was on the team, but there were some good teams I announced for, including a team with Chris Williams, who was a tremendous guard. He later went on to play Division I basketball at Manhattan, and now he is a pastor. He's a good family man, a man of faith, not a Catholic priest, but a pastor in a different Christian religion, and he is well respected and he gives to his community. That's one of the great things about announcing all these games. You really get to get a feel for the players you're announcing. And if you're lucky, you get to follow them a little bit and see who they grow up to be.
Yeah, we actually interviewed him.
You interviewed Chris?
Yeah.
He's a good man. That was a good interview.
Yeah.
He told me I might be going down March to one of the games in Atlantic City, a couple weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, he's doing the He announces the
Yeah.
Atlantic 10 tournament, I
Yeah.
think he said, every year down at the Atlantic City Convention Center.
Okay, cool.
Mhm.
He's a nice guy.
What was the highest level that you did, that you announced?
I announced professional women's basketball a few summers ago, summer of 2019. Women's professional basketball came back to Philadelphia in the form of a team called the Philadelphia Reign. They played in a women's pro league that was a minor league. It wasn't the WNBA. I think it was called the WBPL, Women's Basketball Pro League. They played out at Chestnut Hill College, most of their games. A few games were at Germantown Academy. That was a very good experience. Unfortunately, COVID, as it did with everything else, slowed that down, but they didn't shut them down. The Reign is still an organization, and they are looking to come back this summer, and I'm hoping that they call me back. I had a good time. They liked what I did with it. And if you see on my social media, every game I announce, I make a little highlight reel as a way not only to show off what I was doing, but also to publicize the people that hire me, give them some sugar, give them some social media love. So professional level, that was the highest.
What was the most
Important.
important game that you did?
The most important game. I've done state playoff games. I've done league championship games. I've done, let's see, the AACA championship last year. I just did the semifinals last week at Cabrini University. But the most important game I did wasn't a game. It was the Broad Street Run. I've been the finish line announcer with the Broad Street Run for 30 years. And the most important Broad Street Run I did is probably a tie. That was the one this past October, because it was bringing the race back after it missed for the COVID shutdown. And also I did one that was extremely important. I'm going to mess the year up. I know I'm going to mess the year up. But I remember the atmosphere. It was the year that the Boston Marathon was bombed, and the Broad Street Run was only a few weeks after that incident. So it was very tense. A lot of bomb sniffing dogs around, a lot of high profile security. But it was also important because we were sending a message that terrorists aren't going to shut down cities or communities, that communities are going to get together. They are going to conduct races or games or any type of community event, and they're not going to be cowered by terroristic threats or terroristic actions. So that was probably the most important one I did.
That's pretty cool. How'd you get involved with that? Through the city, your city job?
Yes. Actually, what it was, when I started working for Parks and Recreation, they had need for people working the Broad Street Run. And back in the day, it was maybe 2,000, 3,000 people total. So my first job at the Broad Street Run was handing out T-shirts to the finishers in the finish line area. And at that time, it was in the infield of JFK Stadium. A couple years later, they asked me, instead of doing that, to drive an ice cream truck down there to hand out popsicles and treats to the runners when they were done. And what happened is I got bored standing in the truck. So I was making up little goofy rhymes and sing-songs to attract attention, to get the runners over to my truck so I could get rid of all the product and get the truck back to Jack and Jill's parking lot a little bit earlier. I'd say something like, the weather today has been so nice, Now you deserve some water ice. Celebrate. You've got it done. You've completed the Broad Street Run. I'd say that out loud, like I said, in a sing-song fashion. And what happened is the race director heard me doing it, and he heard me doing it all morning long. I didn't just say it and then sit on my hands for an hour. I was handing out popsicles and coming out with these little rhymes. Well, after the race, he called me and he said, we've been hiring and flying in someone from Chicago and paying him a couple of $1,000s for the weekend. And we think that you can save us some money by being the finish line announcer. Well, I thought he meant I was saving him the hotel cost. I said, you're going to pay me a couple thousand for this? He goes, no, John, we'll pay you in overtime, but you're going to save us a couple thousand. But it all worked out, and I'm glad he thought of me like that.
Yeah, I was going to say you should have figured that one out, John. I knew that one as soon as you said it. When he said the city can save some money, boy, that's it, man. You're going to hire one of our own.
Yeah, well, I kind of knew it, but I had to throw the bait in the water to see if I could set the hook.
That's right. Yeah, well, I would have also. See, I'm cutting you a deal. I'll always charge you $1,000. So
well, they did pay me in overtime, and a later race director. The first guy that hired me, his name was Bob Cameron. And then,
I know Bob. Bob was my guy from Spit Playground, Steve.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's right.
He nominated me for the Union League Award in 1979.
wow.
Yeah,
He's a good man, and I'm forever indebted to him.
yeah, great guy. I saw him this summer down at the North Day down in Wildwood.
Okay.
Yeah,
Last time I saw him was up at a flea market up on what is it, the Trevose Fire Company?
Oh yeah, it's right around the corner from us on Street Road.
Yes, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Nice.
Yes.
But I'm forever indebted to him for hiring me to do that, because he was only in that position for 2 or 3 years, and then he became a manager that took him out of the sports and athletics. But the next race director, besides having me do it again, he started trying to find some side work for me that I would get paid outside of the city coffers. So I'm grateful for him too, for that kind of faith and support. That was Jim Marino.
Yeah, I don't know Jim. Well, so are you retired now from the city?
I'm on the drop program, and my drop ends May 14th. So right now, I'm kind of on vacation until my retirement date.
God bless you. Tell them all the people you know, Steve.
Yeah.
The
Oh, the
Comeys.
Comeys, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you know the Comeys, right?
Tim, Matt, yep,
Yeah,
I know him.
Yeah.
Old man Jack.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That was our buddies on. We moved on their street when I bought my first
Probably
house.
what, 4 houses away?
What? They were a
houses?
little further up the street. They were probably about 10 houses up the street. Yeah.
The one joke is that when North has their alumni soccer game,
Mhm.
one game is the alumni, one team's the alumni, and the other team is all Comeys.
Oh yeah, they could do it. Yeah, they could do it. And they're still in great shape, every one of them too.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Yeah, Tim is down at Samuel. I've been driving past Samuel Playground a lot, and that's really coming around.
Yeah, they're doing a nice job of that field there. Matt's at an older adult center now. He made that move so he could do day work and spend more time with his kids and coach them at night, and that has worked out well.
That's awesome.
I don't think Jack, the son Jack, works for the
Oh
department.
no, Jack was he went into sales. He was Comcast. I don't know if he's still working for them now, but he's a big sales guy.
I think Kevin worked for us. Is Kevin the red hair kid?
Dennis
is the red hair. Dennis
Okay.
and Kevin are probation, but I think Dennis did work a little bit when he was in college for the city.
Yes, I do remember him working for us.
Yeah, they're both probation guys, and the daughter Colleen's a teacher.
Oh,
Okay,
We're
they're
in the
all very good people.
great family,
Mhm.
great athletes. Yeah, well, we love our city workers, right, Steve? You're
Mhm.
like the second or third or fourth one we had, right?
Yeah.
So, do you have any aspirations now that you're getting ready to retire to try to go big time, like, the horse racing or anything like that?
Oh yeah, well, I keep myself busy. I got a full calendar. I do announce for a company called Delmo Sports in South Jersey. They conduct races and triathlons. And I've been their announcer for 7 or 8 years. And I'm getting at the point where there's quite a few months where I don't have my weekends free.
Wow,
And that's what I want. I want to be at these events. I want to be announcing.
that's great.
It has been a great experience. I've applied to be the announcer with the Jersey Shore Blue Claws, the single A affiliate with the Philadelphia Phillies. I should amend that. They're not looking for a primary PA announcer. They have one, a very good one named Jeff Fromm, but they are looking for a backup for him. So I've applied for that, and I'll see what happens there. But I've learned one thing and that is that rather than focus on the destination when doing stuff like this, it's more enjoyable to focus on the journey. Maybe one day I'll be at Citizens Bank Park working for the Phillies. Maybe I never will. But that doesn't mean that along the way, if I announce for a high school or a college or even a youth all-star team, that those kids aren't enjoying it and getting something out of it. And it makes them feel special. And that's the most important thing, that they feel special. They feel good about themselves. Steve, I'm sure you have this experience. I've seen you've been a captain many times with athletes helping athletes. And when I announced for Gwinnett Mercy Academy High School, we have a young lady, Erin Campbell, that has been our captain. And I think it's very important to celebrate not only the basketball players, but the athletes helping athletes that are there. And it's always a joy to see Erin and her face light up and how she gets involved cheering the team and being a spiritual leader on the bench.
Yeah.
I try to tell him that about enjoying the journey instead of worrying about. He always talks about the next season and about how they're going to win first place. And I say, Steve, enjoy every game, because every game can bring a new adventure to you and a new memory. But he likes to worry about everything in advance, right, Steve? Yeah.
Well, I know you're devoted, Steve, and with that, I think that it would be appropriate for me to congratulate you on your 100 wins as a coach at Holy Family College.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome. I know that your attention to detail and the way that you encourage all those players is a big reason those 100 wins happen.
Oh, yeah. Any other questions you got for John?
You know what he did?
What?
One time, the game, what tournament that at the
softball, the baseball,
soccer.
the soccer tournament.
Remember the cup that at the
Oh, you do the city cup, the
Unity Cup. Yes,
Unity
I
Cup.
do.
There you
Yeah.
go. So you do that game every year.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
That I've been lucky enough to announce through that at Citizens Bank Park, at Lincoln Financial Field, twice at Subaru Park where the Union play. And earlier in my recreation career, I used to announce softball championships at Veterans Stadium. So that has been something I've enjoyed each and every time.
Do you remember
venues.
the Philadelphia A's softball team? Did you do those games?
Yes, I do. Former Detroit Tiger Jim Northrup played for the A's.
Get out of here. That's funny. And did you ever get a chance to do any of those games?
That I did not. I made a little bit of a mistake. I knew when I was 18 that I should be doing this. In fact, it was my second year at the Philadelphia College of Art before I transferred to Temple, I was getting a review on my two-dimensional artwork, and it wasn't going so well. And before I go on, the teacher was absolutely right on the critiques he was giving. And he said, "Is there something else that you'd enjoy doing?" I said, "Yeah, I'd like to be a stadium announcer like Dave Zinkoff." And he said, "Okay, I know who he is. Give me some zinc right now." So I did the entire starting lineup of the 1983 76ers. That was about the year this happened, 1983. And he looked at me and said, John, I saw more joy and more passion in that minute than I've seen in any project you've handed in. This is something you should pursue. So when I transferred to Temple, like I said, I transferred and I took as my major public recreation. But I would see Joe Conklin every day at lunch. I'd sit and talk with Joe, and we'd laugh and we'd do things. And I never thought to ask, hey, Joe, what requirements are needed to get into radio, television, film? The college at Temple he was studying with. I never thought to do that. And I can't complain about my recreation career. I've helped a lot of people out. And I've been very blessed that way. But first, before he wanted me to announce any games or races full time. But I always think one person that knew that I should do that was my mom. And she wanted me to not go to Temple. She wanted me to go to the Philip Morris School of Advertising, which was located in Philadelphia, which would have allowed me to use my voice in a different way, probably through voiceover work.
Yeah.
But I wasn't picking up those signals till much, much later. So if there's any advice I can give anyone that's watching this interview, always listen to your mom. Always.
If only someone told you that, huh?
Mhm.
Ah. Anything else? you wanna
Someone's
ask, John?
turning a little bit red there.
Yeah. Any other questions you want to ask, John?
Thank you for coming on, man.
Thank you so much, John. This was a great interview. I really enjoyed it.
No problem. I did too. And I'm honored. Like I said, I know you've had Mike Missinelli on here. I know you've had Matt Cord, the 76ers announcer,
Yeah.
the link to the Zinc. And this might be the only way I'm linked to them. So thank you for giving me this honor, Steve.
Well,
You're welcome.
hopefully you'll get some big future stuff in advance in the future with all Steven's connections, right, Steve?
Yep.
There you go. Thanks, John.
You're welcome. You can be rest assured I'll be sharing this on social media.
Absolutely. Thank you so much,
Thank
John.
you.
Appreciate
No
it.
problem. Have a good night.
You too.
Too.
Bye-bye.
All right. You got to notify it.